Hey guys, what is up and welcome to a new Tesla update video. So today, as per usual, let's go over Tesla's talk, let's go over the market, let's talk about what is happening to Tesla, what we can expect moving forward and all that good stuff. So as per usual, ladies and gentlemen, if you enjoy the video, don't forget to hit that like button. This is not financial advice and I am not a financial advisor. And of course, if you find these videos useful and helpful and all that stuff and you enjoy my kind of, analysis, well, I obviously have a membership section on YouTube for just $2.99 a month, literally $3 a month. You get access to all my thoughts every single day on Tesla and just sometimes the broader market as a whole every day. So if you're interested, the link is down below. It's a YouTube membership. Definitely check it out. $5, you pretty much get the same thing, but also NVIDIA daily updates as well if you're interested in that. Link is below. Love to have you there. But jumping into it, Tesla, another beautiful day, closing at almost 5% on the day, closing at pretty much $230 per share, which compared to the market is yet another outperformance, right? We've been so used to saying Tesla underperforming the market. It's been outperforming the market pretty impressively the past 3 days, pretty much this week, right? Definitely pretty nice to see. But, we are starting to approach a pretty important range and just level in general here. Let's talk about that. And, I'll give you my personal thoughts on what I can see moving forward. So we obviously got the news last night, late last night too, actually, of the timeline essentially of FSD, all that stuff from Tesla AI, right? That got posted, right? And this is, in my opinion, what's causing the majority of the spike right now, right? I mean, it's a technical spike too, but it is definitely helping this little initial push that we had throughout the morning, and then we pretty much consolidated throughout the rest of the day, right? Usually the moves happen initially, like in the first hour or two of the market open, honestly, especially on Tesla. Now, is this good? Is this bad, right? Obviously it's good, but we did approach pretty important level, right? I've been saying how, if you break above this kind of 223, 225-ish level, right, I can see about mid to low 230s. And that's exactly where we went to. We topped out exactly at, actually just shy of 235, right? Mid to low 230s, right? A little bit higher than I expected, actually. I actually thought we'll top out closer to 233 personally. But, I mean, at that point, it's just literally a couple dollars away, so it doesn't really matter. But it's an important level, right? The reason I say this level is important is because you can see before when we we had a massive crash, of course, and we came back up to this general vicinity right here around, we'll say, the mid 230s ish, right? We ended up getting rejected 2 times in a row, right? Which we could potentially get another rally into it tomorrow. That is a possibility, but we got essentially a double rejection, and then we ended up getting a pretty substantial sell-off right after that, right? Now, I'm not saying necessarily that we'll have a sell-off like this exactly. I mean, we could. I'll give you my reason as to why that there is a possibility of that and what I'm looking for in order for Tesla to essentially be arguably bearish. But it's a pretty crucial level, right? It's a pretty crucial level. Now, the way I look at it moving forward, I mean, it's pretty simple, honestly, right? If we break above pretty much today's high, right? We'll just say 235 to make it simple. If we break above 235, I think the play all the way up here to about 245 gap fill roughly is in play. I think that's in play, right? Or maybe like low 240s. Pretty much the same thing that we had here, just put a 4 instead of a 3 there, right? So mid to low 240s instead of currently where we're sitting at, which was that low to mid 230s, right? I think that's a pretty big play, and I think that's going to be most likely something that will happen. And that, even if you were to enter on a break of that general level, essentially a break of structure, that's still another solid 5% up, right? Even from there. So, that's kind of the way, I'd be personally looking at it. Just, my opinion, moving forward. Now, tomorrow we get the jobs data that can definitely determine whether or not we get that move upwards first or we get the move downwards. And I'm a little bit perplexed. I'll be completely honest. I am a little bit perplexed in this market, and I'll go over SPY and QQQ very quickly once I'm done with Tesla, right? Let me just finish off giving these levels. So the level to look for the upside, right? The level to the downside is pretty simple, right? If we lose 223 to 225, well, in my opinion, Tesla goes from being pretty much bullish right now. I mean, it's definitely bullish, into kind of being neutral. Honestly, neutral, maybe leaning slightly bearish, but more neutral, I would say. Between pretty much 223 to 225, right? Between that and honestly, as low as like 203. This whole area, in my opinion, is a bit of a neutral zone. It's a bit of a limbo land because below 203 obviously gets pretty bearish. And above 235, we go to 245. And then, we'll see from there, right? If that actually happens, then we'll continue revisiting it. But that's the first main level to look for to the upside. So that's just the way I'm looking at it. Now, the one thing to note is the fact that, the stochastic is unfortunately flipped bearish, right? The stochastic on the 1 hour chart has officially flipped bearish. Now, whether or not this will play out is obviously, remains to be seen, especially with the jobs data coming out tomorrow. But, it is showing a little bit of weakness moving forward, right? The 1 hour stochastic, bearish flip. We have the 1 hour BX trender starting to slowly make lower highs, even though we're technically not really going lower. We're just going sideways, if not even slightly higher, right? So, we're starting to lose a little bit of momentum. MACD is starting to look a little bit slower, So we're definitely losing a little bit of momentum here, in my opinion, moving forward. But, it is the 1 hour chart. This can change pretty quickly, right? So let's talk about the daily chart, right? This is kind of gives us a better picture. So you can see the wick at the top, right? You can see the amount of resistance that came in around this general level as the volume profile. If I zoom out over here like this, you'll see the volume profile definitely starts to very, very heavily spike up pretty much as we enter that mid 230s region, and even more so as we start getting closer to 245, and even more so as we get closer to 260. So this is why this level in general, all the way up here, pretty much starting from 235 all the way up to 265, or rather 265 too, but like more like 256 rather. That whole range is going to be a lot of resistance in theory, of course. Everything's in theory, nothing is guaranteed, but in theory, right? Just statistically looking at, technicals and whatnot, it does suggest that should be a lot of resistance there. It should be pretty difficult to just blast right through it, right? Not anywhere near as easy as it has been to essentially blast through this, low volume profile. Keep in mind, again, don't forget, the reason we went from 220, we'll just say, all the way up to pretty much 235, like it feels like, in literally a day, right? Arguably, it happened in even less than a day because we closed at 220, and within the first hour or two, we were already at 235. The reason that happened so quickly is because you can see a massive gap in the volume profile. It's pretty damn simple, man, right? Massive gap, right? And we pretty much went from one to the other pretty quickly. And now we're, of course, at another massive range of a volume profile being increased once again, which naturally will act as a resistance. So this is why, this area will be turbulent. It will not be, at least in my opinion, it shouldn't be a very easy just blast through to 245. But if it were to happen, I'd want to see at least a break of 235 for 245-ish to be in play. That's just the way I'm looking at it, right? The daily stochastic is still looking great. It's still bullish, still looking straight up. So the daily stochastic is looking great. The BX trender is looking pretty good still. No complaints whatsoever, right? MACD still flip bullish. RSI still looks pretty solid. So in my opinion, the daily chart for Tesla looks pretty damn good, but that doesn't mean that we can't have, a day or two of redness, right? That is still a possibility, and that can happen tomorrow with the 1 hour showing that a potential, short term, like very short term, like a day or two slowdown in the bullish trend, which again, can bring us back down to about 225, 223, something like that. But as long as that level holds, as long as 225, 223 holds, which it already technically came down to today, you can see here on this wick, right? As long as this general range holds, though, in my opinion, Tesla's still bullish, right? I think Tesla still looks pretty damn solid, and I think I'll move up to 245 is likely as long as we maintain above 223, 225 roughly. That's just really the most simple way of looking at it, right? And it's in my opinion, it's one of the few bullish charts that I still see, at least among the major, the mega cap stocks, because it's also above the 21 EMA, right? We're above, of course, the market bias, right? We're above the band's regression. So, Tesla, it's until these kind of technicals, until these trend technicals start to falter, in my opinion, it's still bullish. It still looking like a pretty bullish situation that Tesla's setting up here, and there's no reason to be bearish on Tesla, in my opinion, just yet. Obviously, if we start losing 225, 223, well, you can start making cases for bearish, trends or trend change and all that stuff, right? We can start talking about that more, vividly, if you will. But yeah, so otherwise, in my opinion, Tesla still looks pretty damn good as long as we're above that level. So anyway, let's talk about the market really quickly before I finish off the video, right? This is the part where, again, Tesla's already proven that it outperforms the market or underperforms the market, right? Tesla just kind of does its own thing, right? That's been proven many times, whether it's the last few days as an example for an outperformance, or just look at the weekly chart. This thing has been pretty much doing literally nothing for months, years even, right? While the market has been at all-time highs pretty much, right? So pretty much, the opposite of a movement, right? Just keep that in mind. Just, whenever people try to, correlate the market to Tesla too directly, just, tell them that, right? It's like, well, it hasn't been following the market that closely for years now. Why would it start now? Just again, keep that in mind. But with that being said, it doesn't mean that it's completely immune to the market either. It does roughly follow it. It's just not 1-to-1 necessarily. Like I guess 2-to-1 technically, if you talk about this beta. But anyway, the point I'm trying to make here, without rambling too much, is this. QQQ, right? My issue with QQQ is this. It's below the 21 EMA, right? It's below the 21 EMA. It's looking pretty bearish. It's, it's showing some selling pressure coming in as well, right? The MACD is bearish. The stochastic is still bearish. BX trender is making lower lows, right? Obviously, MACD is making lower lows. It's, getting rejected by the 0.382 Fibonacci, which it came down below, and now it's having issues going back above. So I'll be completely honest. Like I personally would like to see QQQ move down at least to about 454, right? Which isn't too much more from here. Or about 447 roughly, which is that 0.5 and the 618 Fibonacci retracement respectively, which again is not that much more from here. Either it's another like 1.3% or maybe, closer to about 3-ish% drop from here, which is not that much really. So that's kind of what I would personally like to see. I don't know if we'll actually see it. Maybe the jobs data tomorrow, help with that, if you will. We'll see. But But personally, again, I'm looking at the trend. I'm looking at my technicals that I like to follow. They're not showing anything bullish, at least for now, for the market. It is what it is, right? That's just what I see. I could be completely wrong. Obviously, it can turn bullish. It can go back above the 21 EMA, and it can have this stochastic flip bullish. Obviously, those things can happen. In that case, and things will be looking a little bit better. It hasn't, and it's not looking like it wants to yet. Just keep that in mind. Same thing with SPY, right? SPY is holding up a little bit better in my opinion overall compared to, other than today, obviously, but in general. But same with SPY. Like I want to see SPY at 543, maybe 537, or worst case 530. I don't think we'll go down to 530 personally. Maybe we will like later, like in October. But even short term, like I'd want to see at least a move down to about 543, which is not that much more as well for SPY, right? That'll be what, another move of about, let's take a look here, right? There'll be another what? Like also just over 1%, like 1.3%, we'll say roughly, right? Nothing too crazy. Now, again, I'm not asking for a lot here, right? But, MACD's bearish, stochastic is flip bearish, it's pointing straight down, BX trend is lower lows, stochastic or RSI is below the average, like the yellow line there you can see. I look at these technicals, I look at these charts, I look at the 21 EMA, I look at the obvious, support into rejection off the 21 EMA. I don't like it. I don't like it. The risk reward to me personally, it's just not there, right? Again, all that being said and done, in my opinion, Tesla still looks pretty good compared to the broader market for once, which is a rare thing to say. But it is what it is. That's just the way I look at it. That's just my opinion. In terms of options flow, Tesla had a lot of mixed flow today, right? Come in all over the place. We had some pretty massive puts come in actually too, right? Including this 1.7 million put for that, next year, March 21st, 190 strike put came in. A lot of short-term calls came in as well. But if you look at the overall bullish flow, Tesla was confirmed with about 21 million in bullish flow. But again, that's not crazy amount for Tesla. It's okay. It's okay. But again, keep in mind with options, it's not all perfect, right? Just because something is bullish doesn't mean it has to go up, right? In fact, sometimes the market likes to purposely make them lose. So that's why I don't put too much weight into this, but nonetheless, it's still worth looking at as, potentially, an extra just factor. But all in all, that's it for the video. Video's getting long. Don't want to make it too much longer. That's what I'm looking for, and that's what I'm seeing. Thanks for watching. Peace.